place in the league. Next up, another trip down Tobacco Road to the unfriendly and noisy confines of Reynolds Coliseum. Maryland and NC State coming up next. We're in one of the great old buildings in college basketball, the legendary Reynolds Coliseum, built in 1949, and its structures will be tested here this afternoon because it's the Maryland Terrapins, unbeaten in league play, taking on the Wolfpack of NC State, looking for its first win, but 8-3 overall. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt along with Dan Botter. Glad to have you along for this game. Hey, Dan, Maryland playing with a great deal of confidence, especially after Wednesday night's win down in Chapel Hill.
Tim, anytime you beat North Carolina, but particularly when you beat them in Chapel Hill coming from that far down, that's designed to give a team confidence. However, each game is another challenge, and this is a very difficult challenge for the University of Maryland.
Well, let's talk about some of the keys to this game then. Take us through the game plan, what you think has to be done first for Maryland.
Well, I think the first and the most important thing is the tempo of this game. We've got two contrasting styles. Maryland averages over 80 points a game. North Carolina State, when they win, they hold their opposition to around 50, and when they lose, the opposition scores around 70. So I think the big key is which team can force the game at the tempo that they're comfortable. The other thing is something that I like to call conversions. These are the #1 and #2 teams in the conference in terms of creating turnovers. But what do they do with those turnovers? A big part of the Maryland offense is converting the turnovers into baskets. I think North Carolina State has to do the same thing. Basically, the Wolfpack can't turn the ball over and allow Maryland to get easy shots. The Wolfpack has to force some turnovers and get some easy baskets.
Now, I suspect NC State's going to play that half-court defense, slow things down, and Maryland's going to want to run.
Maryland's going to want to get there. Maryland's going to want to run, but it's a lot easier to slow somebody down than to speed somebody up.
All right, we're just about set. Maryland and NC State coming your way. When we come back, we'll have the lineups and the start of the game. Stay with us.
By Food Lion.
Well, the Maryland Terrapins come in with a record of 13-1, 3-0 overall. NC State rolls in with a record of 8-3, 0-2. We're at Reynolds Coliseum. Take a look at the lineups for today's ball game. The Maryland Terrapins go with Keith Booth, everybody's All-American. Ikezi in the middle. Prophet, Stokes, and Yesikavich is basically a three-guard attack.
And Ikezi at 9.9 points a game is the only guy in that starting lineup not averaging in double figures. The strength of the Terrapins is that they've been able to get contributions from everyone.
NC State does not go very deep. Danny Strong, who has had very good games against Maryland in the past, three-point shooter. Thornton in the middle. Harrison Hyatt and Ashua Benjamin will be the point guard.
Thornton at only 6'7", not a real center, more of a powered forward kind of guy. A couple of guys in that lineup playing out of position, but they've done it very well so far.
We'll have the opening tip when we come back after this message from Budweiser. This is only the third road game of the year for the Maryland Terrapins, who come in with a record of 13-1 in the Reynolds Coliseum. Terps have won 2 in a row here at Reynolds, going for 3. Gary Williams doing one of his best coaching jobs ever this year. He loves to take a team that is picked low and just ride them all the way. Herb Senig filled his gaps as quickly and thoroughly as he could, taking the players that he inherited and has changed the attitude. He's done well recruiting, too, for the kids that will come in next year. NC State leads the series 66-51, but Gary Williams is 11-4 against NC State. A win today would give Maryland its best 15-game start in school history. Thornton and Ikezi will jump it up to start the game. Maryland and NC State. Wolfpack will have it first. This is Ashua Benjamin, and Maryland starts in a man defense.
And while North Carolina State noted for their half-court defensive pressure, Maryland can apply that defensive pressure pretty effectively as well.
Inside they go to Strong, kick it back out to Hyatt. Not really in Thornton's range, so he takes it down the lane. Turnover number 1 for NC State.
North Carolina State obviously does not want to turn the ball over, Tim, but if they're going to turn it over, that's not a bad turnover because Maryland's not able to take it down and turn it into an easy basket.
Inside they go to Booth. Back to Booth, 15 feet. It's short. And Akese with good hustle to get it back. Maryland has its first turnover. Well, when Gary beat Carolina Wednesday at the Dean Dome, it was his third win there, tying him for first among all visiting coaches at that building. Terps now won back-to-back at the Dean Dome.
Well, his guys sort of played in the game too, so Gary didn't play Dean one-on-one. I think Gary'd win that most of the time.
This is strong, beyond the arc. Cabbages has it. Maryland will try to get the break going.
And Maryland is very effective in the transition game. Nice job by the Wolfpack to get back on defense.
Cabbages got his first touch, but back to Stokes, and he throws it away. Cabbages with good hands after Profit tipped it to Akese.
And we're going to get a goaltending call against Thornton.
And Maryland scores first.
We talked about Maryland really wanting to push the tempo. The Terrapins very effective in the fast break. Right there, 3 guys are drawn to the man with the ball, and that creates the opening for Akese. Nice job by Cabbages on the fast break.
2-0 Maryland, 18:15 to play.
And Thornton is going to get a foul for coming over the back. That was an unfortunate break for the Wolfpack. Benjamin with the height advantage, able to post up down inside. And I think what Benjamin has to recognize is that he can actually get closer to the basket than that against Stokes. He took a fall-away jump shot when he really doesn't need to do that. He can get the ball over Stokes inside.
Slow start to this ball game, and you believe, Dan, that if it's a low-scoring game, NC State has the advantage there.
I think NC State is able to stay in the game that way. I don't know whether they have the advantage. Look at the inside pressure.
Booth along the baseline, kicks it back out to Stokes. Cabbages will fire for 3 off the back of the iron, and State loses it.
One of the things that's characteristic for this NC State team is some relentless pressure on the ball. And you watch wherever that ball goes, there's at least one, and that time 2 or 3 guys right after the basketball, forcing us to make some decisions, to make some good catches and good passes.
Cabbages with a nice pass down low to Akese, who converts. And it's 4-0 Maryland. Akese just gets better and better. Gary's quick to point out he's just learning the game of basketball, has not played that long. He's a soccer player.
Has a big foot.
Hyatt, 2. So Jeremy Hyatt gets the Wolfpack on the board. It's 4-2.
Tim, early in the game, with the way that the Wolfpack playing in this man-to-man defense, it appears that the Terrapins are going to have to do some scoring from outside because they're really dropping down inside when the basketball goes in there. And that's the kind of thing that'll destroy the defense.
Splash for 3. Terrell Stokes with a nice looking shot from beyond, and you're right. When they're dropping down low, they'll kick it back out. Stokes fired and hit. Maryland by 5. This is Hyatt. Benjamin has a good look.
Boy, nothing but red shirts around the board. Maryland quickly with the ball into the offensive zone.
Maryland has shown good ball movement early. Akese playing out on the perimeter. Trying to open things up in the middle, perhaps, for Booth. Inside they go to Profit for the easy bucket. 9-2 Maryland.
Herb Sendek asking for a 20-second timeout. This is just too easy for Maryland.
Maryland showing a lot of patience, too, in the half-court set.
The Wonder Dog, America's best Frisbee dog, coming up at halftime.
Well, our call of the week is from last Sunday's Duke-Georgia Tech game. Take a look. We'll start with the Blue Devils down by 11 in the second half. But watch Steve Wojciechowski. He ignites the comeback. Stealing the ball, starting the fast break. He makes a nice behind-the-back pass here to a trailing Greg Newton, who gets the hoop and the foul. Duke comes back to win 66-56, and that's our call of the week. Obinna Ekezie here off to a quick start for Maryland.
Obinna Ekezie, the tallest guy on the floor, really battling for position inside. Thornton, a couple of inches smaller, a few pounds lighter. That's a tough matchup inside, and Ekezie recognizing that the defense has come to him, passed it back out for the three.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on that matchup since Thornton's playing out of position. A forward playing in the center. State really plays without a guy on the pivot, without a true center. Oh, look at this shot. It's perfect from Harrison.
The key to that was Gainey, Justin Gainey, the freshman in the ball game, steals the ball, creates the three-point opportunity.
It was for two, 9-4 Maryland lead. That gets the crowd back into it. Profit at the top of the key. Maryland's still moving the ball quite nicely. Booth now will take it into the lane. Stokes dribbled into trouble, and Harrison takes it away.
Man-to-man for the Terps.
Good timeout by NC State. Stop the bleeding. Harrison gets it back. Gainey's shot is long.
When again, nobody around the offensive boards for the Wolfpack. That was a good look at the basket.
Justin Gainey, who just came into the ball game covering Stokes here, he replaced Benjamin. Interesting freshman, good, intense defensive player, very athletic. He struggled offensively thus far for the Wolfpack. Booth with a good step, kicks it out to Stokes.
Oh, nice job by Gainey to stop the penetration. That's what coaches mean when they talk about help and recover. Super job by Justin Gainey.
Gainey is an excellent defensive guard. Gets his hands on a lot of balls, does there. 14:37 to play first half. 14:37 to play first half. Maryland by 5.
And Maryland doing a tremendous job on the backboards. Can't do much better than that. 7-0.
Get it into Ekezie. He has 4 points already. And the running one-hander goes down for Obinna Ekezie with 6 of Maryland's 11 points.
Scary thing about Maryland is they've played so well thus far, and guys like Ekezie just keep getting better.
Back out to Gainey. Good defense by Maryland. Shot clock at 15.
North Carolina State doesn't mind running some time off the clock, but if you're going to do that, you have to be able to score late in the shot clock.
Nice pass inside to Hyatt. He can't get it to go down.
Boy, that's really a tough break. They got an excellent shot after running the shot clock all the way down.
Yes, the Cabbage's shot is short.
Good block out that time by North Carolina State.
Strong. Can't get it to go, and Booth pulls the rebound. Gainey's a good-looking freshman. Boy, he hustles, gives him a little extra quickness in the lineup for State. And Ekezie is charged with an offensive foul, his first.
We talked about the desire of North Carolina State to put pressure on the ball. Ekezie does an excellent job running the court, but when he catches the ball inside, watch the pressure come to him. This is Harrison, who sees it coming, gets over and gets in position, and that's called taking one for the team. Excellent pressure on the basketball.
Maryland turned it over 5 times already in this game, and that's what NC State defensively will do to you.
But NC State needs to convert those turnovers into basket. Profit thought he had an opportunity, committed the foul. Generally, the officials aren't going to give you the ability to make that play unless the guy puts the ball on the floor. That's
Profit's first, 3rd team foul for Maryland. Ekezie will go out of the ball game, and Rodney Elliott will check in.
Good start for Ekezie.
Elliott is 6'9", 220-pound junior from Baltimore, Maryland.
And Elliott is also a guy, it's not just the starters. Elliott has made some great contributions coming off the bench.
Maryland leads 11-4. This is Stokes who will push it and kick it out to Elliott, who loses it on the way up.
Now, of course, you're allowed to recover the ball. Everybody's allowed to recover it, so just the fact that the ball went out of his hands, he's allowed to catch it coming down. It's not your classic shot, though.
Yes, the Cabbages wanted a foul called. There was none, and Thornton comes down with it.
North Carolina State doing a great job on the defensive end, but you don't win the game with defensive stops. You have to put the ball in the basket.
And have really struggled offensively. 12:30 to play in the first half.
For the most part, they've stayed out on the perimeter. Not a lot of penetration with either the pass or the dribble. And they've missed some easy shots. That was a wide-open shot for Harrison. Hyatt missed a close one a couple of possessions ago.
And that's one Harrison normally will hit. He averages 14 points a game. He can play the game. 1994 North Carolina High School Player of the Year. And here's another turnover by the Terrapins as Elliott walks, and that's 6 turnovers.
A turnover that's caused again by North Carolina State attacking the ball, and the turnovers are mounting up. The problem for the Wolfpack, they have forced 6 turnovers, but they've only scored 4 points.
Hey, that's what you talked about early in the game, conversions. State turns it over. This is Profit behind his back. Pretty much took him away from the basket.
Boy, you cannot play better transition defense than Benjamin just played. Force Profit away from the basket, force him to take a tough shot. Gary Williams is not happy with that particular play.
Now he wants Profit to take it to the hoop strong. Crowd in it now. 11.5 to play. It's 11-4 Maryland.
Look how far out the Wolfpack has to start the offense.
Strong. Can't get it to go. Booth with the rebound. Saw Profit late, who was wide open at the other end.
Well, I don't know that he was all that wide open. That's your senior leadership right there. Actually gives it a look and decides, nope, we'll just get down the court here and set it up.
Kavarik into the ball game now for Maryland.
Another turnover.
Hyatt will fire for 3 and hit it. Jeremy Hyatt's first bucket of the game. It's a 4-point game.
It's a good news, bad news routine. When you only score 7 points in the first 9 minutes, that's some bad news. But when you're still within 4, obviously the defense keeping them in it.
Terrapins trying to get their half-court attack. This is Profit who drills it. That's a 2-point shot. Aron Profit has 4.
With North Carolina State doing such a great job keeping the ball out of the hands of Keith Booth in zones where he can score, I think other guys, notably people like Profit and Jesse Cavicius, are going to have to step up and provide some offense.
Harrison is stripped. They get it back inside. Thornton converts. Boy, he's a good-looking athlete playing out of position perhaps, but excellent leaper. He's had some foul trouble early in the year.
Well, when you have a guy 6'7" playing your center position, he's going to have some foul problems.
Here's Booth with a turnaround, kicks it out to Stokes. Profit gets it back. And he's fouled by Hyatt.
Boy, LaRon Profit just stood there and waited for Hyatt to show him the ball. This is a good rebound. Hyatt never sees him. He's worried about Kavarik. It's called picking somebody's pocket. Now, Profit paid for that. He got it right across the nose. Hyatt never even sees Profit, and just a little bit of frustration. He really fouls him hard.
So Profit goes to the line. He's a 61% free throw shooter. Missed all 7 of his first half shots at Carolina, but then very strong down the stretch, hitting 11 of Maryland's last 16 Wednesday night.
But Tim Profit misses that first free throw, but he really looks to me like a young man who has the necessary skills to be a very good player in this conference. It's just a matter of getting some playing time and getting some experience so he can understand how the game is supposed to be played.
And the second one comes back out. Averaging 13 points and 6 rebounds a game. Coming into this game, he had hit 10 of his last 12 free throws, but misses both up that end. Benjamin kicks it back out to Harrison, who fires. This is beyond the arc. And beyond the backboard. 9:17 to play. 13-9. Maryland will be back on the Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Sports Network. Proud to present today the Maryland-NC State game for you. Maryland 13-1, NC State 8-3 on the year. 9:17 to go first half. Maryland leading 13-9 in a very low-scoring game.
And in a very low-scoring game, you wouldn't expect that your shooting statistics are lighting anybody up. Maryland actually shooting the ball pretty well, almost 50%. North Carolina State has had some opportunities. They've missed some easy shots.
Take a look at the three-point percentages, what they're doing there. Neither team burning them up.
Well, North Carolina State doesn't rely on the three-point shot this year to the same that they did last year. And Maryland, three-point shot has never been a big deal in Gary Williams' offense.
Taken away from Booth, and Elliott gets it back.
McCollum just lost the ball.
Jasikevich's shot off the iron. Elliott again with a rebound. It'll be Maryland ball. But everything seems to be geared defensively for NC State. I mean, it's a club that only shoots 40% even on a good night. That's what they've done for the year, right on 40%. But defensively, of course, they force the turnovers.
One of the keys there is it's only a +3 for North Carolina State right at the moment.
Keith Booth still looking for his first bucket. This is Jeremy Hyatt.
And this is a tough matchup for Kesey. Boy, McCollum has looked a little nervous since he's come in the game. The freshman
shuffled his pivot feet there, walks, turns it over. He's now physically fit. They said he was a little bit out of shape when he came in. It's hard to come into a college program and know the conditioning that's needed.
But he looked a little overexcited when he came in the game. The first time he caught the ball, he had a dribble available, and he got double teamed, and he didn't dribble. He just looked a little overly excited, and so he's a talented young man. They're going to sit him down, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah, and he's getting more and more minutes as the season progresses. Shot clock has not really been a factor. Inside the booth, and he's now in the box scores. His first bucket of the afternoon.
Keith Booth has been so effective and so consistent for the Terrapins, who now come with some half-court pressure.
After Booth scored that, Gary turned around like, hey, it's that easy. Just work the ball inside. Gary Williams a little frustrated right now. Harrison is fouled.
That's one of the first times this afternoon, Tim, that North Carolina State has really attacked that defense with the dribble.
Foul is on Profit, his second. State down by 6.
Gainey back in.
Gainey comes back in. Hyatt goes out. It's been fun to watch Jeremy Hyatt over his career. He's gained a lot of confidence since he first came. Harrison makes the first one.
You know, it's been a struggle for the Wolfpack during the career of Jeremy Hyatt, but they have had some big wins, and particularly some big wins in this building. The Wolfpack have been entertaining, if nothing else.
Harrison now 16 of 22 for the year at the line. We'll be back after this message. NC State has limited its first 7 opponents under 55 points. They've held Maryland here to just 15. We've got 7:45 to play in the first half. Don't forget, coming up Wednesday night, NC State goes down to Chapel Hill to take on Anton Jameson and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tar Heels looking for their first ACC win of the year. That's 9 o'clock Wednesday night, right here on your ACC Basketball Network.
Got to look at the rebounding stat. The pace has been really in favor of North Carolina State. Maryland with only 2 points off the fast break, and that's a big portion of the Maryland offense.
Profit offensive. That'll be his 3rd foul.
I don't really know that Profit would have picked up the offensive foul on that play just from the contact. The problem is, as the contact occurred, he actually threw out his forearm. Harrison really didn't have great position. The Profit hit him with the forearm, knocked him down.
9 turnovers for Maryland. Profit sits down. Kavar comes in to take his place.
Here comes the pressure. That's a tough shot.
Well, I see Strong. I think of the 7 3-pointers he had against Maryland last year. When he gets hot, look out. Back out to Jasikevichus.
They just do a great job reacting to the ball and then reacting back to the outside.
Kesey with a strong move inside. And Kesey has 8 points.
Kesey's showing some great hands and great strength on the inside.
17-11 Maryland. Harrison kicks it back out to Benjamin.
Maryland has played very effectively on the defensive end as well.
Benjamin for 3. 17-14 Maryland.
Gary Williams, I think, is a little upset with his squad that time. North Carolina State hasn't really penetrated to the basket. It seems that their penetration is designed to get the perimeter shot, and Maryland gave it up.
Booth with a tough pass to Akizi, and Akizi fouls trying to get it back. That's 2 on Akizi.
That's just a matter of strength right there. A tough pass to Akizi. He dribbles the ball off his leg, and then he just, with that big chest there, knocks Benjamin out of bounds. Yes, it was on you, Obina.
Obina has trimmed down, though. He's down to about 250 pounds, 6'10" guy. Hyatt for 3. And Kavar comes down with it.
Well, you don't want to live and die with those threes. The Maryland defense has forced North Carolina State out to the perimeter.
And Booth can't convert, and Benjamin ends up with it.
Good scrap by the Wolfpack.
Maryland struggling because NC State is playing that scrappy ball.
Well, if you're going to take that shot that early in the shot clock, you better get the ball to go into the basket, because with a miss really gives Maryland the opportunity to run.
Gary Williams tells Stokes to run the offense. He comes, sets it, and goes down low to Booth, who can't handle it. Turnovers for the Maryland Terrapins. Hey, Nations Bank, a corporate partner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, presents this ACC Salute to Excellence questions. And we'll have that for you in a second.
North Carolina State really keeping the offense spread out, trying to deny help opportunities to the defense. Akizi, nice block.
Thornton puts it on the floor and gets in trouble.
Oh my, what speed right there!
And is fouled.
And that's something that Maryland has not had the opportunity to do very often today. They created the turnover and got the ball down the court. And Stokes just forces his way down the court. There's a crowd of white shirts down there, but Stokes does a great job with the acceleration, gets to the basket before Benjamin can get in good position.
So Stokes goes to the line trying to convert the three-point play. He's a 59% free throw shooter, has hit only 34 of his 58 attempts this year. Stokes, a sophomore out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, makes it a 2014 Maryland lead.
Full court pressure results in turnover and basket.
Easy. Again to Kavar. Tie up, and the possession arrow belongs to Maryland.
Maryland is such an explosive team. They can convert those turnovers into baskets so quickly. And this was a very tight ball game. Of course, 8 points still isn't a tremendous lead, but this was a 2 3-point game. And now all of a sudden the Terrapins have bounced out to the big lead.
And a tip by Akizi.
Boy, just like that, it's a 10-point lead. This is a 3-point game. And before the Wolfpack can get it back over half court, they're down by 10.
7-0 run for the Terrapins. 4 minutes to play in the first half. Maryland trying to break it open here in the first half. Harrison, yes, that's a three-pointer. C.C. Harrison.
Herb Sendek certainly hopes that his team can prevent those kinds of spurts by Maryland.
Inside to Akizi. Jump, stop, and score. He has 10 points.
Akizi so effective inside today. 6'9", 260 pounds. Trying to find those players on the perimeter.
Most of Maryland's points have come in the paint, 21 of them, to just 2 for NC State. Here's Gainey with a good first step. Now back out, he gets to Harrison. Has to adjust his shot.
North Carolina State has not shown the ability to get the ball inside, either with the pass or with the dribble, and so Maryland's defense concentrating on those guys on the perimeter very effectively on that occasion.
On this side of the court, NC State has taken away the perimeter, so Ekezi's had to go to work. 2:33 to play in the first half. It's Maryland 26 and
Maryland with the 9-point lead, and one of the big factors in the ball game has been hands picking up the loose ball, dropping it in the basket, and then showing some effective offensive moves. Feels the pressure coming, makes the wheel, the jump stop, knocks it in. Ekezi, 12 points, Tim, 6 for 6 from the field, and he's taking a well-deserved break.
Rodney Elliott comes back into the ball game. So it's Booth, Yesikavicius, Elliott, Stokes, and Kavarik on the floor right now for the Terrapins. Kavarik turns it over. That's turnover number 12. But State gives it right back.
Maryland really showing some good hands.
Shot clock was down to 1. He had to let it go.
Shot clock didn't reset because North Carolina State never had possession. Boy, they missed another easy one inside. That's at least 3 that they've missed from point-blank range.
Maryland has the numbers, but Yesikavicius walks. Here's that Nations Bank question of the day for you. What two teams have the most overtime victories during ACC tournament action? We'll have that answer for you coming up shortly. I know Dan Bonner knows.
Boy, North Carolina State has missed a couple of easy opportunities, or at least opportunities from close range.
Oshawa Benjamin from beyond the arc, in and out, Booth with a rebound. NC State's opponents have turned it over a lot. Matter of fact, in 9 games, more turnovers than field goals, and here this afternoon, 13 turnovers from Maryland. Elliott with the turnaround, and he's fouled. This will be on Benjamin.
Benjamin coming with the double team.
Foul's on Benjamin.
Stan, you know the answer? What two teams have the most overtime wins?
Well, I'm going to guess North Carolina and North Carolina State.
All over it. All over it. 6 overtime wins during ACC tournament play. Oh, my.
That's a good guess when these guys are playing.
Yeah.
Well, plus you figure all the ACC tournament championships that are shared by those two teams, they probably had some overtime games as they marched through the tournament.
Strong with the rebound over Yesikavicius. Unusual miss for Elliott. He's hit 37 of his 50 free throws this year. Great time to order Pizza Hut's new pepperoni pizza. Pizza Hut making it great again and again and again. 1:10 to play in the first half. 27-17 Maryland. This is Benjamin at the top of the key.
And he traveled. Maryland defense has been very effective. North Carolina State, of course, holding its opponents to only 48 points a game. A very effective defensive team. Each team playing pretty well on the defensive end, forcing a lot of those turnovers. But Maryland has sort of been playing through the turnovers. They lead by 10.
Tough game to find a rhythm offensively for either club. And the fans really not into it because it's been a defensive ball game with a lot of turnovers. Inside they go to Booth.
Oh, great catch. Great catch inside by Booth. But again, the heavy defensive pressure.
Damon Thornton's a good-looking player. He's going to be strong for NC State in the future. Tremendous athlete. 19 seconds to play first half. 2-second differential. And this foul's going to be on Benjamin.
Very frustrating ending to the first half. Benjamin just trying to hang on to the ball and picks up his 3rd foul, but Stokes with the good quick hands knocks it away. That's a pretty good call. Benjamin trying to force him away, holding him off with the arm. You can't do that.
So Maryland will go to work now with 12 seconds left. Shot clock is off. Stokes will usually take this one himself. Down to 5. Now he kicks it out to Kavard. Have a tough time getting a good shot off. And don't. And Stokes looks over to Kerry Williams and says, I told you.
Well, see, and the bad thing about it is LaRon Profit standing right next to Gary, so Profit gets yelled at because they get turnover. He wasn't even in the game.
So that's the end of the first half with Maryland holding on to a 10-point lead, 27-17. We'll have the halftime action.
Carolina State plays, and they have basically imposed their style on the game. However, it's interesting to me that Maryland has actually performed better with the North Carolina State style than has the Wolfpack. One of the big reasons has been Obinna Ekezie. North Carolina State simply hasn't had the answer for the big guy inside. 6'9", 260 pounds, and he has been very effective. 6 for 6 down close to the basket. That was a power move inside. He also has done a nice job catching the loose ball. There's been a lot of deflections and balls floating around, and Ekizie's able to pick this one up and jam it in the basket. Maryland only shooting, the other Maryland players besides Ekezie only shooting 30%. However, North Carolina State only shooting 25% for the game. Jeremy Hyatt with 2 field goals in the first half. The Wolfpack with only 6 field goals in the first half. They're going to have to do much better than that on the offensive end if they expect to come back and win this game. And you know, when you play slowly and you get behind by 10 points or 12 points, that's a heck of a deficit to try to overcome. Remember, Ekezie 6 for 6. The rest of the squad for Maryland 6 out of 20. North Carolina State shooting a lot from 3-point range, not making very many. Rebounds very, very much in favor of Maryland, as are the inside baskets.
Yeah, no question about it. NC State shooting just 25%. We'll get exciting here in the second half. We'll tee it up. We'll be ready to go right after these messages. Reynolds Coliseum, Raleigh, North Carolina. Maryland leading by 10 at the half, 27-17.
North Carolina State has not shot the ball very effectively. Obviously, 17 points in the first half would indicate that. And one of the problems for the Wolfpack, they only have 1 offensive rebound. And when you're not scoring well, you got to get some offensive rebounds. And this young man right here, averaging almost 10 points per ball game coming in, has not scored today. 0 for 4 from the field, 4 defensive rebounds, no offensive rebounds. I think that he's one of the people for North Carolina State that really needs to step it up in the second half.
Now, NC State has held 3 opponents under 30 points for the game this year. Winthrop, Texas Pan Am, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. And I don't care what level you're playing on, that's quite an accomplishment to hold a college team under 30 points. But they also have to score. They've not been able to do that here in the first half.
Well, they're playing against a fairly effective defensive team.
Benjamin takes a look from 3. His shot is short, but Hyatt gets it back.
Well, there's the second offensive rebound. That's what we talked about. If you're going to miss those shots, you got to get the offensive boards and then convert them.
Jeremy Hyatt makes it an 8-point game, 27-19.
Man-to-man defense.
Profit. Oh, what a pass from Yesikavicius.
And they get that play at least once every game.
You could see that one developing. We could from here. I don't think the white jerseys saw it.
Well, it's a lot easier to observe things when you're sitting over here than when you actually have to be out there doing it. I've always found that to be the case. It's much easier over here.
Little skip pass inside of Thornton. And Hyatt is fouled by Booth.
North Carolina State not getting great pressure on the ball. Hyatt a little bit hesitant about getting out to Yesikavicius, and Yesikavicius makes the great pass. Profit certainly is a guy that has the ability to run after that one and go get it.
Harrison had 17 points to lead NC State in the first half. Gives it up here. Here's Hyatt. Strong has it blocked by Ekezie, and it'll be NC State ball. Ekezie having a terrific game.
Strong did a great job getting open inside, but as Strong catches the ball, he's the only white shirt in your screen here. You don't see anybody moving, cutting to the basket, so he's playing 1-on-4 in there, and that's not a very effective formula for success.
Strong has it blocked. It'll still be Wolfpack.
And there's 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
But it seems like things have picked up a little bit, Dan. I mean, there's a little bit more intensity than we saw in the first half. Still a half-court set. Here's Harrison back to Hyatt. Harrison gets a good look, scores, and is fouled.
Well, the one thing that we've seen early in the second half is North Carolina State looks to be a little more aggressive trying to penetrate the defense, and generally that will create some openings. Harrison does a nice job getting by Jasikevičius, who smacks him on the side of the head going by. If a guy's going to shoot the ball, it's not really a very good idea to hit him on the side of the head. Hit him on the side of the arm, so you'll throw the shot off.
And he misses the free throw. You know, we talked about those 3 low-scoring games. Here's a guy, Harrison, who personally outscored Arkansas Pine Bluff with 24 points. Strong still not getting a shot.
Maryland doing a nice job getting back on defense.
Harrison with the pump fake again, gets a good look and drills it. 29-23, and Gary Williams wants a 20-second timeout. They're on their feet at Reynolds Coliseum, and as Dan mentioned, NC State a little more aggressive offensively here in the second half. Advance Auto Parts is proud to be a corporate donor to the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. Over the past few months, Advance Auto Parts stores throughout the southeastern region of the United States have raised over $600,000 to fight the disease. Advance Auto Parts and the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation together walking for the cure. Six-point Maryland lead, 18 minutes to play in the ball game. Jasikevičius to Booth, who banks it in with a good, strong move underneath.
And Booth has been very quiet this entire game. That's only points 3 and 4, but Booth is one of those guys who's not going to press the thing. He's going to let the game come to him. Another important aspect for North Carolina State is I think they've got to get shots at the basket every time down. They turned the ball over too much in the first half.
Strong with a big rebound and puts it back.
Well, there's both the things we talked about. Some offense from Danny Strong and some offensive rebounds. That's 2 offensive rebounds in this half that North Carolina State has converted into baskets.
Booth takes it back in the middle.
And he's pushed. And it's Thornton who's going to get called for the foul. Booth is just a really tough guy to guard defensively because he can play inside with his strength. He's got quickness to get to the basket. He's got a little bit of a jump shot now. Jasikevičius out and Elliott back in.
Maryland coach is a little frustrated with Jasikevičius. He's not getting his shot off. Booth lets this one go over his head.
That's a good
saves it.
Well, that's a good play by Booth. If he'd have tried to jump up and catch it, he'd have carried himself into the backcourt. Shows a pretty high basketball IQ right there.
Stokes resets. Rodney Elliott into the ballgame for Jasikevičius. Inside they go to Akizi.
Boy, he drew some attention, didn't he?
Nice pass to Elliott.
North Carolina State scrambling on defense. Excellent job by Maryland to make the good passes, the good catches, and aggressively move that ball and finally find the open man.
Keith Booth not scoring, but contributing in so many other ways. Harrison. And the Terrapins want to run. Maryland went on that 7-0 run earlier with pressure defense. They'd like to get out, score a little bit on the transition, but again go to the half-court attack. Strong misses. Hyatt back in. Keith Booth on the baseline. And finally they call the foul. Gary Williams ready to jump out of his suit. At the other end, Herb Sendek also excited.
Herb Sendek has seen his team climb back into this game with some aggressive play on both ends of the court. getting some offensive rebounds. They own Danny Strong going out of the game, but the Wolfpack only had 1 offensive rebound in the first half. They've had 3 in this half. They've converted them all into baskets.
Gainey back in to replace Strong. Both Sendek and Williams came flying off the bench on that last call. Now here's Booth at the line. Keith Booth had 20 points, 12 rebounds Wednesday night at Chapel Hill. Normally a 70% free throw shooter. And he makes the second one. 15:43 to play in the game. 34-27. Maryland will be back after this message from Budweiser.
43 left. Maryland up by 7, and for North Carolina State, a little more offensive-minded in this half. Danny Strong with the offensive rebound and the putback, and C.C. Harrison doing a nice job penetrating the defense, getting rid of the defender, and scoring from the free throw line.
34-27, Maryland with 15:40 to play.
And NC State obviously shooting the ball much better this half. 5 field goals already. We've only played 4.5 minutes.
Gainey at the point, gets it to Harrison. Good ball movement over to Benjamin, and he hits a 3.
Nice job against the press. 6 points now for Benjamin. And it's a 4-point game.
34-30, Maryland. The Wolfpack being much better offensively.
And they've already matched their field goal total for the first half. Still playing the same tough defense.
Cross-court pass to Profit with a reverse layup.
They've really been aggressive against the ball. Booth trying for the steal, knocks it out of bounds. But that pressure on the basketball, Maryland has done a nice job on a couple of occasions in this half, just hanging tough and finding the open man.
The freshman gives it up to Hyatt. He'll take it across the timeline. No, he won't. He'll give it back to Gainey. Look at the points in the paint. 29-6 Terrapins. And the freshman turns it over. Ahead to Booth. Misses the layup.
Talked about the importance of conversions. They got the turnover, but weren't able to convert it into a basket.
Booth has missed several close in. He struggled a little bit offensively today.
That's a tough shot. Harrison did a nice job bothering that shot.
Shot clock at 12.
Gainey took a quick glance that way.
Now down to 7. Gets off a tough shot. And Profit with a rebound.
I think if you're NC State, you don't necessarily want the ball in Gainey's hand at the end of the shot clock.
Thornton with the block on Profit, and he's called for the foul.
Profit has the ability to get quickly into the offensive end. The defense does not stop him until he gets all the way to the basket. A lot of pressure on Thornton, who fouls him with the body. Profit so quick with the basketball. NC State slow getting back defensively.
3 personals now on Thornton as Strong comes back into the ball game and Gainey goes out.
It's a tough time here for NC State. They got the game back to within 4 points, and now the Terrapins look like they're threatening to spurt again. Only one real spurt, that 7-0 run midway through the first half by Maryland.
LaRon Profit hits the first, making a 7-point Maryland lead. Rims the second one. Oh, good step by Hyatt. Inside to Strong, and Strong is fouled by Elliott.
They were not easy passes. Each of those guys who passed the ball put the guy who received the ball in a real tough position. Great catch by Hyatt. Great catch by Strong. This is really tough. Now he throws the ball into a crowd here. Hyatt's got to catch it and stop as Elliott comes over with a nice defensive job, but recognizing that Elliott has come, he gets the ball to Strong, who makes a nice catch as well.
And Strong makes the first one.
Herb Sendek doesn't want his team to live with offensive plays like that. He'll take the aggressiveness, however.
Makes them both. It's a 5-point game. Booth trapped in the corner, kicks it back out to Stokes. Maryland now will spread the floor, check their spacing, and run the offense. Profit splits the double team and banks it in. Talented sophomore. Profit with 11 points.
He's got 3 hoops this half.
Inside the Thornton, nice spin move on Booth. Maryland. Wolfpack just hanging around. And again, Booth misses it from close range.
And I think Booth is going to pick up the foul coming over the back. Keith Booth, that last stride was just a little too long for Booth. An excellent move to the basket. And Keith Booth knows when he gets that close, the ball's got to go in. That finger roll just doesn't roll far enough. And then Booth picks up the foul coming over Hyatt's back.
Third time Booth's gotten in there, unable to finish. He now has 2 personal fouls, and Harrison takes a shot for 3 and goes over the backboard. Boy,
when you're struggling offensively, that's the way the breaks go. If that ball goes in the basket, this place explodes. But instead, it goes over the backboard.
Herb Sendak looks at him and says, set the offense. 12:25 to play now. Keezy throws it away, intended for Booth.
One of the other factors is that Keezy has not been a factor in the second half.
The announcers for this game selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports. Any use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited. Strong had a good look and couldn't get it to go down.
But I don't think that Herb Sendak wanted either of those last 2 shots. The 3 very early in the possession, I think he wanted them to run the offense.
All white jerseys around the basket.
Now, if Herb Sendak has his way, I think there'll be a couple of passes before they shoot this ball.
Under 12 minutes to play. Maryland by 5. Hyatt, this is beyond the arc. Yes!
But that's within the context of the offense. They're able to set it up, get a good screen, get him open. Maryland wants timeout.
Well, they're on their feet and enjoying it here at Reynolds. And it's a 2-point game. Don't forget, Wednesday night in Chapel Hill, the Wolfpack will take their show on the road. North Carolina looking for its first ACC win of the year. That's Wednesday night at 9 p.m.
Herb Sendak's squad has been much more aggressive offensively. They have obviously converted their offensive opportunities. I think the other thing that they've done is they're no longer being dominated on the inside by Obinna Ekezie. He has handled the ball rarely in the second half.
Kavarik in the ballgame for Maryland replaces Stokes. Yes, Cabbages also comes back in. Booth has struggled offensively. Elliott trapped on the baseline. And the shot clock down to 10. Booth not even close with his shot.
Didn't really handle the ball well, Tim.
NC State with a chance to tie or take the lead. Hyatt is fouled.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. In the first half, very few times did they put the ball on the deck and take it to the basket. Hyatt, a very aggressive move.
NC State has not led in this ball game.
You know, it's always easier for a coach. It's more fun for the players when the ball's going in the basket. When you shoot 6 of 24 in the first half, and only score 17 points, it's hard to have very much fun playing basketball. And Keith Booth, who just sat down, is not having very much fun today.
Hyatt misses the free throw. Obinna Ekezie scored the first 2 points of the ball game. Maryland led right from the very beginning, built the lead to 10 at the half. But Hyatt has just made it a 1-point game. So with 10:33 to go, it's Maryland 39. ACC basketball, 1997. Proud to present this game this afternoon. Maryland and NC State. Terrapins leading by 1, but have been outscored here in the second half, 21-12.
And Keith Booth has really struggled offensively today, and this is really a new thing for Keith Booth this year. You can see what he's done this year in the left-hand column versus his career. His numbers way up. His lowest game prior to this one was the Virginia game, in which he scored 12 points.
Booth just 2 for 10 today. Jessica just couldn't handle the ball. Here's Profit on the baseline. To Elliott. Yes.
You know, if you fumble the ball as you're trying to catch it, that really allows the defense to catch up a little bit. Maryland fortunate that time to recover. Elliott with the nice catch and the nice basket.
Jessica and Booth both having trouble today with the basketball. Here's another rebound by Profit.
Jessica is another guy who's been very quiet offensively.
Profit loses it going up, and Hyatt gets it. State with the numbers. Harrison. Good finish. 1-point game. Ekezie with a tough move, good defense, and Thornton has it.
Is that his first shot of the second half? He has not really handled the ball much in there.
Thornton. Great follow by Hyatt. NC State with his first lead of the game. This is similar to the way Maryland played against Georgia in a Rainbow Classic Championship.
North Carolina State is able to get the ball out on the fast break as well. That's what you call converting the turnover. And then they only had 1 offensive rebound in the first half, but this is at least 4 that they've turned into baskets in the second half. Hyatt in particular, really an outstanding second half.
Meanwhile, Thornton picks up his 4th personal foul, so he goes out of the ball game. Kavarik banks it in.
Oh, nice job by Kavarik to step through the defense.
Andre McCullum back into the ball game for NC State. This is Benjamin with the ball.
2 starters for Maryland, Booth and Jessica both on the bench at this critical stage, and Stokes picks up the foul. And that may have actually been a break for NC State. Benjamin, I think, was going to shoot that ball under defensive pressure. That's not exactly what the Wolfpack's looking for on the offensive end, but Stokes bailed him out.
Benjamin has hit 20 of his 29 free throws this year. I think everybody saw him score those 29 points in his very first varsity game at NC State and expected so much of it.
Keith Booth does not have much time on the bench, averages a little more than 16 minutes per half.
We're tied at 43. Skip pass inside to Elliott, back to Kavarik, and he loses it. Possession arrow belongs to Maryland.
Well, Jeremy Hyatt reached for that pass with his hands instead of stepping toward the ball. As that pass went back into the middle, I think if Hyatt had stepped toward the pass, he would have intercepted it. But as it was, he simply deflected it. And good hustle by Kavarik to recover.
Booth comes back in as Elliott goes out.
Now, Tim, the shot clock does not reset because Maryland had possession of the ball, the possession arrow in their favor, so there's 21 seconds left on the shot clock.
And that's a good rule. I like that rule, you know, rather than penalize the defense. down to 14.
Freshman McCollum matched up against Booth. That's probably where you want to go, but Profit knows where he wants to go, and it's in the basket.
He's a glider. 45-43 Maryland. Man-to-man defense by the Terrapins. McCollum gets a look and throws an air ball. .7:51 left to play. 45-43. Maryland numbers.
Well, Maryland leads it by 2, Tim, and Obinna Ekezie, who is 6 for 6 in the first half. No points in the second half. He's only attempted 2 shots. North Carolina State has done a great job keeping the ball out of his hands in scoring position.
And we were talking about Jesse Cavages as well, who's had 2 very good games the last 2 outings. He has really been quiet here this afternoon. Kabark almost loses it. Here's Ekezie, and he slams it down with a high percentage shot.
Well, we just talked about the fact that Ekezie hadn't scored, and he scores in a big way right there. And it's understandable that Maryland would struggle in a half-court kind of game if Jesse Cavages isn't going to score well. His three-point shooting ability ought to open things up.
Benjamin off the iron. Strong with the rebound. And this will stay to NC State ball.
Again, North Carolina State scrambling, trying to put pressure on the ball. Strong just doesn't react quickly enough to get back and help out against Ekezie. You can't leave that guy open under the basket.
Harrison shot, not close, short. Again, NC State will get it back. Reset the shot clock.
Ball hit the rim, so the shot clock resets. North Carolina State, this is a pretty important possession. They went ahead in the game. They now trail by 4.
Approaching the 7-minute mark.
That's a tough pass right there.
Booth got a hand on it, gets the ball back, and banks it in. Great hustle by Keith Booth.
Just out-hustled Hyatt for the ball. In that situation, you don't want to recover the ball by dribbling. You have to grab it and pick it up. Hyatt tried to recover it on the dribble, and as a result, it's a 6-point game. Watch as Hyatt runs after this ball right here. If he just grabs it, Booth can't get it, but instead he tries to dribble it, and Booth takes it away and scores.
Herb Sendek wants a 20-second timeout. Wednesday at 9, Tobacco Road matchup as NC State travels to Chapel Hill to take on North Carolina. You know, it's always been a dogfight when these two get together. Last year, NC State had an emotional win at home, but the Wolfpack will have to contend with Anton Jamison, who averaged over 20 points and 8 rebounds a game against him. There he is inside, so tune in Wednesday at 9 for more great ACC action. NC State and North Carolina. Check local listings for the station in your area.
Well, Maryland has put together a little mini run here to give themselves some breathing room. I think North Carolina State really needs to get a bucket this time down the court.
Benjamin hesitates to pull the trigger. Now they reset.
Booth matched up against Benjamin.
They've got to look for one now. Shot clock at 9. And they're going to call the hand check on Terrell Stokes.
Well, Stokes complaining that there wasn't much contact there, but Stokes was trying to keep Hyatt from forcing him down under the basket.
NC State in the 1-and-1 now.
And that's a tough foul right there for Stokes to commit because the shot clock was running down. It appeared that Hyatt was going to have to take a tough shot. Hyatt, a solid basketball game today.
This is the free throw, and Ekezie comes down with it. 49-43 Maryland. We've got 6:15 to play in the game. Terrapins have led most of the way. NC State's only lead just moments ago.
And NC State, which has done it all year long with defense, needs a defensive stop now.
Oh, bad pass by Profit, taken away by Strong.
Well, they waited until Booth was coming up and passing the ball. He was open in there, but not when they tried to pass.
18 turnovers for the Maryland Terrapins. Back inside, trying to work against Ekezie. And Thornton gets tied up by Stokes. Possession arrow belongs to the Wolfpack.
Well, when the ball goes inside to Thornton like that, Benjamin has to do a better job moving to get into scoring position. Stokes just left Benjamin and went down to double team. Can't stand and watch. Maryland doing a nice job getting out on the three-point shooters.
Still working the perimeter. Thornton at the top. Shot clock down to 6. They've got to go with it. Here's Benjamin. Booth again with it, and he is fouled by Danny Strong. Good hustle by Keith Booth.
Well, Booth is not having a good game offensively, but here in this last little stretch, who is it who stepped up for the Maryland Terrapins? Well, it's Keith Booth.
And it's a point you made earlier in the ballgame. He does so much for this ball club and does not try to force issues. If he's not shooting well, he does, like you say, something else to help the club.
His defense on that particular occasion really helping. He made the steal in the basket, and now North Carolina State in deep trouble.
Approaching the 5-minute mark. Inside they go to Booth. He takes it up strong, banks it in, and is fouled. If this is on Thornton, it will be his 5th.
It's really nice if you're Gary Williams to have a guy like Booth that you can get the ball to inside, and Booth has been so strong against players his own size, and that's what Thornton is, at about 6'7". Booth has been able to operate effectively down inside against people who are about equal in his height his entire career. Gainey's going to come in now as Thornton has to leave, but Keith Booth down in the blocks against somebody of similar size, you can just forget it.
Thornton picks up his 5th, and so Keith Booth will go to the line to try to convert a three-point play. Trying to push the lead back up to 9. He does. And Booth has 10 points. If he gets to 20 today, it'll put him in the top 10 all-time scorers at the University of Maryland. He's worked hard for those 10 points.
2 Maryland runs in this game, Tim. 7-0 in the first half. Now they're on a little 8-0 run. Those have been the keys.
Out to Benjamin. He had the shot. Profit jumped on him in a hurry. And his shot clock's back down to 10.
You know, Gainey's not going to really look for his shot, so when the ball's in his hands as the shot clock runs down, he's looking to pass the ball. And NC State, which has trouble scoring, they're down 9. If Maryland gets a bucket here, that's a lot to make up in under 4.5 minutes.
And with the foul trouble, they've got Gainey, the freshman, handling the ball a lot. Not a situation I'm sure that Sendek wants.
Well, now there's a little reversal of roles for you. The 6'9" center passes it inside with a little point guard.
Benjamin scores and is fouled. That'll help.
Profit, his 4th.
Well, that is an important turnaround. The couple of points that Maryland doesn't get. And then Benjamin aggressively taking the ball to the basket, drawing the foul, trying to get the three-point play the old-fashioned way. Very, very critical play by Joshua Benjamin.
Profit picks up his 4th. Stokes goes out of the game, and Jesse Cavages, who's been very quiet, comes in. On the floor for Maryland, Profit, Booth, Kavarik, Jesse Cavages, and Elliott.
And that's Tim Wells coming in the ballgame for NC State. And this is his first time in the game, I think.
They said before the ballgame they want to start trying to get him some minutes. He's the freshman out of Winston-Salem.
And Herb Sendek wants a 20-second timeout, but doesn't get it. This is a tough time, though, to put a guy in the game. You know, for minutes left in the game, he gets off the bench for the first time.
Well, they don't go that deep, and now they've got some foul problems. 52-46, Maryland. Under 4 minutes to play.
Good pressure on the ball.
Booth takes it right to the hoop, and he's fouled before he gets the shot off. Hyatt got him out before the shot.
Booth is such a tough guy to guard. The last time down the court, or a couple of possessions ago, he posts up against 6'7" Thornton and scores, and now Hyatt's trying to guard him out of the perimeter, and he blows right by.
And the senior goes to the line, and he's not a guy that gets shaken very easily. 70% free throw shooter. He's hit 93 of his 133 attempts this year. hits that one. You know what's really impressive about the way Keith Booth has stepped up this year is being the only senior. He's averaged only 2 personal fouls a game. Very rarely does he ever get in foul trouble.
And that's a big departure from his previous 3 years.
And he hits them both. So with 3:49 to play, Maryland extends its lead. Maryland leading by 8 with 3:49 to play, but NC State has kept this game close throughout.
Of course, for Herb Sendak, you're not interested in keeping the game close. You're interested in winning the basketball game. And his team appeared to me lost some of its aggressiveness after they came and they took that 1-point lead. They were very successful in attacking the basket, and I think if they're going to chop into this 8-point lead, that's what they have to get back to, attacking, trying to get that ball to the goal.
You know, Dan, this is pretty much the same NC State team we saw last year. It looks as if, however, they play with more confidence. It looks as if, you know, that the albatross is out from off their neck. You know, with the violations are now all behind them, and they're looking forward in this program.
It's pretty much the same team except for a big left-handed guy.
Todd Fuller, who was huge with his ball play. But he's had a good recruiting year so far, and, you know, they're optimistic down here. They're strong with the left-hander.
Nice bucket by Strong. Gets the ball into that lane area. That's what we're talking about, attacking the basket. Now they've got to get some defensive stops.
The lead is 6.
Don't be surprised if you see Maryland try to put the ball into the hands of Booth.
Sagging down low, and Booth trying to take him away. Now they go to Elliott. Shot clock at 9. Stokes has to move with it. Nice move inside by Terrell Stokes.
Well, you can take Booth in the inside game away, or you can take the penetration away, but I don't think you can do both, and Stokes made him pay for it.
And again, not a good shot, and Elliott comes down with it.
Herb Sendak claiming that there was a personal foul on that particular play, but Maryland has played very effectively on the defensive end.
Nice pass to Elliott. Oh, what a play by Wells, who knocks it away.
Shot clock doesn't reset. 14 on the shot clock. Maryland actually now with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game. They want to run some time before they score, and there's carrying the ball. Turned it over.
That ball's got to be in the hands of Stokes.
Keith Booth with another excellent pass, but Wells comes over with the good double team. Swats that one away.
Maryland now with 20 turnovers, and as we approach the 2-minute mark in the ball game, Stokes has to be the ball handler. Profit gets called for turning it over.
Well, Tim, one of the reasons why that we've had more offensive production in the second half than we had in the first is that each of the teams have turned the ball over fewer times. Maryland with 7 turnovers in the second half, but they had 13 in the first half. It's hard to score when you're giving the other guys the ball. Haven't heard much recently from Jeremy Hyatt.
Well, Maryland has 2 timeouts left. NC State has 2. Both are out of their 22nd timeouts. Maryland has won 9 of the last 10 against NC State. The Wolfpack trying to break that streak.
Well, North Carolina State's got to get some buckets, and they have to get them quickly.
56-48 Maryland. 2 minutes to play. Benjamin out to Hyatt for 3. And Profit ends up with it. Right away they get the ball to Stokes. And now Maryland will try to melt some clock. The foul on Benjamin.
Well, he fouled Stokes, and as you mentioned before, Stokes not a particularly good free throw shooter.
That's 4 on Benjamin, and you're right. Stokes just 59% from the line, hitting 34 of his 58 attempts. Matt Kovarik will check in from Maryland, and Jasikevičius will go out. Jasikevičius a little bit frustrated. Never really got into the rhythm of the game.
And this is one of those hard-nosed, knockdown, drag-out defensive struggles, and it's hard to get an offensive rhythm.
Made that one look good. Unusual free throw style that he has, throwing the ball up and spinning it before he actually gets ready to shoot.
Sort of has that hesitation at the top of his shot that is probably going to cause some lane violations this year.
Makes them both. It's a 10-point Maryland lead with 1.5 to play.
Well, North Carolina State simply does not have the time.
Maryland trying to get its 4th ACC win of the year.
Oh,
and the putback by Wells.
And the Wolfpack gets timeout.
Great job by Wells just to keep it alive. 8-point lead with 1:18 to play. And we'll return after this message from the Atlantic Coast Conference.
8, only 1 minute and 18 seconds left. And Wells, who entered the game with 4 minutes left, does a great job with the tip. Not going to see very many better tips than that. He comes over the back of Booth and bats the ball up in the air. Does it without fouling. Left hand. Very nice play by the young man, but it's very difficult now for North Carolina State. They do not score a lot of points anyway, and now they've got to get a lot of points in a very short period of time. And Keith Booth, you know, he struggled offensively throughout the game, but when it came time that the game was on the line, when it was time to win the basketball game, Keith Booth stepped up, made a couple of good defensive plays, scored a couple hoops inside.
Critical, he gets the ball inbounds here. He doesn't, and Harrison stepped on the line. Tough break for NC State, which made a good defensive play.
Yeah, Booth stepped underneath the basket, but Harrison stepped out of bounds in front of the NC State bench.
Booth wisely gets it across the timeline. Nice pass to Elliott. 1:10 to play. Maryland extends its lead to 10, and that ties their biggest lead of the game. Benjamin, Harrison, and he's fouled.
Oh, and that's the last thing you want to do if you're Maryland. Reaches down the bench and grabs Kavaric and throws him toward the scorer's table.
Jasikevičius claiming innocence, but Gary Williams doesn't want to hear it. Takes Jasikevičius out immediately, puts Kavaric back in.
Well, you're out there defending the guys on the perimeter, and you don't want to give them a 3-point pass. 2 and go to the foul line.
And Harrison converts. He now has 16 points, and it cuts the Maryland lead to 7 with 1 minute to play.
The only weapon available, really, to NC State at this point in the game, down by 7 with only 1 minute left, is they have got to get 3-point shots. So Gary Williams not happy with the foul that was committed by Jasikevičius, and now they put Stokes back on the line again. He was effective his previous trip.
So Stokes will go back to the line. He's going to try to put this thing away from Maryland. Had a pretty good trip to the charity stripe just moments ago. Makes that one 61-53 Maryland.
Well, as people look at that stat sheet and see that under 60% free throw shooting percentage, and this guy's handling the ball at the end of the game, he's going to get a lot of chances to go to the free throw line.
Makes them both. A win today would give Maryland its best 15-game start in school history. The Terrapins would go to 14-1. Profit gives it right back. They've got to look for the 3. Benjamin banks it in, gets the 2. Immediately they take a timeout with 52.3 seconds to play.
They've got to score quickly, and if the perimeter is going to be defended, they got to take the ball to the basket and hope that they can score and draw the foul. That's the last timeout for North Carolina State.
7-point game.
And for Gary Williams, coming off that big win at North Carolina, you wonder if your team is going to have an emotional letdown. And I don't really think they did. They came out, North Carolina State is a very effective team on the defensive end of the court. They play you hard, they pressure the basketball. And Maryland, to their credit, only gave up 17 points in the first half. So the Terrapins with a solid defensive effort in the first half. And then when the game got tight in the second half, when North Carolina State actually rallied and took the lead, Keith Booth made a couple of big plays for the University of Maryland, and that was enough, combined with the Terrapin defense, to get them to this lead.
And if you talk to the coaches around the Atlantic Coast Conference, they'll tell you they want to win all the games at home and then steal some on the road. They don't care who they're playing. This is a big win for Maryland to go to 4-0 in the conference.
Well, I think North Carolina State is going to win some games in this conference. They are a team that, if they can get the ball to go in the basket, they play such good defense that I think that they're going to, particularly coming in here, some teams are going to struggle against the Wolfpack.
Don't forget, Wednesday night ACC action continues as the Wolfpack travels down Tobacco Road over to Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. North Carolina looking for its first ACC win of the year. That's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Check your local listings for the station in your area. Back to Booth. Maryland gets it inbounds, and Booth is fouled by Strong. So Keith Booth will go to the line with 50.4 seconds left.
Fouls on Danny Strong.
And Keith Booth is an excellent free throw shooter. That's the third foul on Danny Strong. And now with NC State over the 10-foul limit, it'll be 2 shots every trip. As Profit comes back in, and Yesikavicius sits down.
Booth will get 2.
All 5 of Maryland's starters average in double figures. Keith Booth, the leading scorer and second in the ACC, and he hits the first free throw. He now has 13 points, and he has really worked hard for those.
North Carolina State did an excellent job preventing him from catching the ball in scoring position, particularly in the first half. But when Maryland needed him the most, he was there with his offense, with his defense, with his passing ability.
47 seconds to play. Harrison gets it out to Benjamin for 3 points. Can't get it to drop, and Maryland loses it out of bounds. So with 39 seconds left now, the Wolfpack gets it back.
Well, that's been another part of the NC State game. It really hasn't clicked very well today. They've had a lot of open three-point opportunities and haven't really been able to convert a high percentage.
Strong. Yes. That's a 2-pointer. 64-57. And Strong fouls Stokes.
It's 4 fouls against Strong, and Stokes going to get another trip back to the free throw line.
And as you mentioned, that's going to happen a lot this year.
Well, not if he's 4 for 4 in his last couple of trips.
But he handles the ball, so whether he's shooting well or not, he's going to go to the line a lot. But you're right. When he's not hitting them, they really look for him.
Well, one of the things you do if a guy like him shoots free throws very effectively, you try to keep the ball out of his hands. So maybe this is just like a fake by Maryland. He's been intentionally missing those free throws. So when he gets into conference play, everybody's foul.
There we see, he misses the second one. Maryland Terrapins were 4-0 in the ACC in the 74-75 season, but not since. Benjamin takes it in tight, scores. 18 seconds left. It's a 6-point game.
And timeout by Maryland as they're having trouble getting the ball in. .3 seconds remain. Take a look at our MVPs for the game. Keith Booth of Maryland, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and as Dan said, does so much for this ball club. And also Jeremy Hyatt, who had 15 points and 8 rebounds. Food Lion will make a $1,000 donation on their behalf to the ACC's Operation Outreach Fund, which benefits deserving middle schools throughout the ACC region. And there are players for the University of Maryland who have more points today than Keith Booth, but I really thought the key to the game was the fact that when North Carolina State got the 1-point lead, when the game was on the line, suddenly Keith Booth became a major factor and stayed a major factor until Maryland pulled away. And Jeremy Hyatt did a nice job in the second half during that NC State comeback to put them in a position where they had an opportunity to win the game. And if you're Herb Sendak, in his first year at North Carolina State with a little bit undersized team, and you know there's not a lot of really highly recruited players on this team. I think the fact that his Wolfpack crew is able to play hard enough to put them in a position where they have an opportunity to win the game late in the second half is something that I think Herb Sendak has to be very positive about. Obviously you'd prefer to win the game, but they were in position. They didn't get blown out. The defense kept them in the game. They've got to figure out a way to get the ball to go in the goal with a little bit more frequency on the offensive end.
And he's doing a nice job filling the gaps as quickly and thoroughly as he can. He's had a good recruiting class already this year with 5 early signings. got a tough stretch coming up.
As we said earlier, everybody's got a tough stretch in the ACC. Now that game on Wednesday, Maryland and Clemson at College Park, that will be a great basketball game. And so what they do is there's two teams there at the top of the ACC standings with the Terrapins, and they, Wake Forest and Clemson, they become the next two opponents.
His foul will be on Benjamin, and once again Stokes will go to the line.
Oh, it's taken us a long time to play these last 30 seconds of this game. Benjamin, that's 5 fouls.
So he will be the second one to depart with too many personals for NC State. Horton fouled out earlier.
It's Maryland Terrapins, a couple of wins now on the road. They have to see if they can go back home on Wednesday and hold the home court advantage against a very, very solid Clemson ball club who, as you mentioned earlier, will probably go into that game as the #3 ranked team in the country.
And then it's on the road to Wake Forest the following weekend. So Benjamin sits down and Gainey comes back in for NC State. Stokes at the line and rolls this one around and out.
Now he's missed his last couple of free throws, but to be perfectly frank about it, these last couple of free throws have not been as important as the ones he was making earlier.
That makes it a 7-point game with 17.3 seconds. Now we're talking 3 possessions. Gainey takes it all the way to the baseline. Now out to Hyatt. They need the 3. Wells. And Rodney Elliott gets it. That should just about do it. Ahead to Profit. And that's it. 68-59 Maryland, and the Terrapins go to 4-0 in the ACC, 14-1 for the year. Maryland's best start in school history. We'll be back with some final thoughts after this message from Budweiser.
Missing the free throw. On the year, he's a 65% free throw shooter.
Everybody asks me why players struggle on the free throw line today, and my only answer could be they don't practice it enough. They all want to practice the three-point shooting.
The TV highlights, it's killing it, right?
It could absolutely be that.
32-13 as he does make one of the free throws.
Maryland Eastern Shore has 10 turnovers, and that's way too many, and it looks like number 11. Nope.
Now Juan Dixon on the sideline, but Dixon, again, he led the ACC in steals, so he's a very active defensive player.
At halftime, when we played Maryland, the first stat I would look at, I'm not a big stats guy, but was turnovers. Because going into our game, one of our goals was to have single-digit turnovers at the end of the game. There goes the 11th turnover.
Byron Mouton, the feet inside. Trotman breaks it up. He was trying to find Juan Dixon, who was in great position.
The whole key to this pressure is, can they do it against the ACC teams? And will they do it? And Gary told me yesterday they're going to pressure a lot more this year. Oh, boy.
Juan Dixon. Oh, boy, times 3. 35-13. Maryland goes on top.
This could be lights out here pretty soon.
Dixon's a 43% three-point shooter. Now Tim Smith, rather, a little Showtime move to get inside, but he's fouled.
I have so much respect for a guy like Tommy Trotter coming to a program where he knew that he was going to have games like this. You know, the nice thing about this is they're only probably, what, 2.5 hours away. So they get a great guarantee. They don't have to jump on a plane and spend all that money on plane and hotels, although they probably stayed in a hotel last night. So the Maryland Eastern Shore is going to get a great guarantee out of this game. But I respect Tommy Trotter to come in here and play this game. Obviously, heavily underdog and a new program. But you never know. If he stays after it, he does a great recruiting job, Dave, in Chicago. And if he just got to go out there and get some players and build this program back and maybe get his son healthy as quickly as he can, too.
Lonnie Baxter comes back in for Marticic. You mentioned that as Tim Smith at the line, fouled by Byron Mouton. 35-14 the score. It's only a couple hours, you said. They probably could have even come today, but there's a threat of snow, so they were definitely here last night. But as it turned out, it did not snow.
Well, they played Georgetown. Long pass.
Wow. Mouton, look out.
You know, I've seen that play. That's a set play. Gary has run that play against Georgia Tech a few times. And you want to make a coach mad, let him get a layup. But that's a set play. That's designed. They work on that.
Mouton with 11 points.
Now the turnover.
Steve Blake. This is Blake on the inside to Morris. Offensive foul though for Steve Blake. As with position was Ali Trotman.
He tried to avoid it, but that time they got the charge.
Now, so you're enjoying this, being able to break down the Maryland game and knowing it's not hurting you.
Exactly. I've seen that long pass, and it's a great play. Gary's a great coach. We all know that. He came back to his alma mater from Ohio State, where he had a great situation. And now they're building a new building.
And Roberts trying to keep it alive on the floor. It'll stay with Maryland Eastern Shores. It goes right into our broadcast position of Juan Dixon.
This season and next season will be the last seasons in Cole Fieldhouse.
And then the new Comcast Center.
Yes, and Gary's very excited about that.
And he's talking about a very interesting final opponent. We'll get to that a little bit later. Ben Roberts, and we'll have a jump ball. As Roberts, probably not jump ball, but I slipped into the NBA mode there for a second. The switch of the possession. It'll go to University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, Gary wants to bring back former great Maryland coach Lefty Driesell. He's now at Georgia State next year, and I hope he accomplishes that and brings Lefty back here. That would be something for the fans.
Wow, if Lefty and Georgia State, if that were to come true, the final game at Cole Fieldhouse, what an emotional night that would be.
And I tell you what, Dave, it probably couldn't be the final. They probably have an ACC team. But I'll tell you what, Dave, Georgia State has a great team this year. Roberts, the runner, doesn't go. Baxter, the rebound. Lefty's been down there now about 3-4 years, and he's got a solid program.
Steve Blake, Terrence Morris.
Lefty could very easily wind up with an NCAA bid this year. The winner gets a bid.
Now this is what Steve Blake does best, Bobby.
Yes, sees the floor. So simple.
Timeout on the floor. Morris with the basket. The Terrapins go on top, 39-15 on the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. But Steve Blake sees the floor still well. He's averaging over 7 assists this year. That's up from his numbers last year. So again, just a sophomore. That's what I think is so exciting for Gary Williams' program.
Well, you know, I've had some good point guards: Kenny Anderson, Stephon Marbury. The best point guards I've ever seen is John Stockton and Magic Johnson. And I really consider it a gift, Dave. I think it's a natural gift of, I call it the sixth sense. And I believe this young man, Steve Blake, has it. I talked to his dad, who was at practice yesterday. He said growing up, Steve always was undersized, but he always had a gift. His dad was a professional golfer. Actually, he was on the tour one year. He now does property management in Miami. But what a recruit this young man is, Steve Blake, for the University of Maryland. I guarantee you, I would love to have had him.
And Roberts for Maryland Eastern Shore as they try to work their way out of the pressure. Andre Newsom. Newsom's guarded by Mouton. In theory, this is what a good possession for Maryland Eastern Shore would be like, save for the final result. They'd work it down about 10 seconds or so on the shot, but Tim Smith shot falling short. And so far, the effort falling short is Maryland in control. The Terrapins on top of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Maryland is tough to beat at home.
A 4-minute mile. A pole vault of 20 feet. A perfect 10. The experts said these could never happen. What do they know?
All you gotta do for $1 million, my friend, is make this simple shot. But first, we need you to put on these jumbo waders and add in these live Maine lobsters. Tennis, anyone? Okay, Joe, make that shot. Hey, Joe, high five. This is great.
The Alltel You Make the Call game, where every card's a winner. Ask about our 1,000-minute local freedom plan at $39.95 a month.
It's NFL This Morning on Fox Sports Net.
Oh, yeah! You should get up and hang out with us because we're going to have a little bit of fun. Unbelievable! I'll tell you who's going to win. Tony, give me love. Speaking of good material.
I like the hair today, Chris Myers. You look a little like Bob's big boy.
It's broken down to name calling up here.
It's your Sunday morning tailgate party in a box. NFL This Morning, Sunday at 11 on HTS.
Dave Johnson, Bobby Crimmins back at Coalfield House. Juan Dixon, last 4 games, has scored over 23 points in each of the games, and this will help your scoring average, 3-point shooting.
Great out-of-bounds play. You know, right now, Gary's mission is being accomplished. He wanted to get Maryland East Shore in a fast-paced game and get a lot of turnovers, and that's exactly what they've done. And this is an excellent game prior to going into Clemson.
3-second violation on the Maryland Terrapins. As talking about three-pointers, Juan Dixon was about to try another one. He's 2 of 3 so far this afternoon on threes for 6 points. So you saw that number, Maryland 4 of 5 on threes. The pressure maintains constant for Maryland on Maryland Eastern Shore. This makes for a long afternoon for a team like Maryland Eastern Shore.
It really does. And, you know, you got to understand the situation. Again, I like Coach Trotter's enthusiasm. You know, you're looking him up there coaching. Right now, you don't look at the scoreboard. He knows when he gets into his league, when he gets into the MEAC, that's what it's all about. And Dave, the winner of the MEAC gets an automatic NCAA bid.
And Roberts taking to the hoop. Can't go. Trotman is too far into the basket. Now Darby, what's he going to do? Shoot.
Last year, I believe South Carolina State was the representative from the MEAC. Coppin State's in there, Hampton.
Right.
And, you know, that's everybody's dream in that league, just to get that NCAA bid and upset somebody.
Darby's got 9 of their 17 points. Byron Mouton trying to get inside to Baxter. Good defense on the inside by Kevin Darby. So active on the defensive end.
See, they're not looking to shoot. They want to run some half court. Now here, this guy's their best inside player.
Oh, Baxter, rejection. Now Blake. Mouton. Score.
Street's trying to go after Baxter. He can't do that. Baxter can block the shots, and Street's got to play smarter.
Mouton now with 13 points.
See the way Maryland will gamble. They'll just gamble. They'll lead their man. And what you got to do, you got to find open people like right there, and you got to hit that shot. That's how you beat them.
Everything worked until they shot. Steve Blake now. Baxter, look out! Lonnie Baxter escorts it home. 43-17, Maryland with the lead. As
nice
Roberts,
pass.
good pass to Sanyika Street, but too hard off the glass.
Street's got to finish that.
Blake, no look to Juan Dixon. It's there.
See, Maryland's goal is accomplished. They got him in that running game.
And that's why, as you mentioned, Maryland Eastern Shore can't look at the scoreboard.
Right.
As a foul in the backcourt by Steve Blake. Juan Dixon now has 9, all off three-pointers.
Maryland, they force you to play that running game off the block. Now, this is the other thing they love to do. They love to run. And the other thing we really worked hard on prior to playing Maryland was transition defense. But once they get you in a running game, you gotta, oh boy.
Ellie Trotman finds the front row, but not for a seat. Nice catch by the fan. It'll be Maryland's ball.
See, now that would drive me crazy as coach, Dave. You know, you have the ball out of bounds and you throw it away. We call that dead ball possessions. And that would drive me absolutely crazy.
This is Chris Wilcox again, the newcomer to the Maryland program. Now, Drew Nicholas getting some time at the backup point. Played last year as a true freshman in 35 games.
He's an important player. This is
Wilcox is triple teamed. Now Nicholas.
Nice pass.
Miller. Oh. Wilcox active. Baxter always active. We have a scrum in the middle and a foul.
Games like this, it's very important that a guy like Nicholas gets a lot of playing time, Dave, in case Blake gets injured. Maryland always going to the offensive boards, particularly you know who, Baxter, all over the boards. That's one of his fortes. But, you know, let's say Blake gets in foul trouble or, God forbid, gets an injury. You know, who's going to be a backup? Is it going to be Dixon or is it going to be Nicholas? And this is the type of game where you could get a lot of playing experience for Nicholas at the point. And that's exactly what Gary's doing. He's putting Blake on the bench and letting Nicholas take the point.
Maryland Eastern Shore does break the press that time. So they're up by 30, 47-17. And that's why we talked about, even for a team like Maryland, Darby with the 3. It's an important game, the final non-conference game. Nicholas, Tim Smith comes up with it for Maryland Eastern Shore. Nicholas atones for his previous mistake. Alwan Dixon.
I love the pass by Dixon there.
Darby to Smith. Miller, the interception. Nicholas. Oh! Baxter!
Outstanding basketball. Outstanding.
And a foul.
I'm glad I'm sitting next to you today.
You'd be going nuts as a coach.
I'm glad I'm not over there in coach's spot because I'd probably be going crazy at halftime. But Tommy Trotter, he knows. First year, he knew he was going to take some whippings like this.
Free throw doesn't go by Baxter. Stays 49-17. Ali Trotter getting his 3rd personal foul. Kevin Darby, this is the leading scorer for Maryland Eastern Shore. Tim Smith.
Nice pass.
Underneath, nice work on the part of Maryland Eastern Shore. Jay Vaughn just coming in from Brandywine, Maryland, scores. Blake shot no good. Timeout on the floor with 3:10 to go the first half of play. 49-19, the Maryland Terrapins on top.
Touch-up paint.
Oops. Sorry.
Bendix brakes. TRW tie rods. Rabbit's foot. Advance Auto Parts carries more parts than any other store, including one you won't find anywhere else.
First driving lesson?
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
All you gotta do for $1 million, my friend, is make this simple shot. But first we need you to put on these jumbo waders and add in these live Maine lobsters. Tennis, anyone? Okay, Joe, make that shot. Hey, Joe, high five. This is great.
The Alltel You Make the Call game, where every card's a winner. Ask about our 1,000-minute local freedom plan at $39.95 a month.
Why do I drive an Audi with Quattro all-wheel drive? Because I like driving a car that has an amazing racing heritage.
A car that dominated the Super Touring Series. Bye-bye!
Let's get this thing out of here, guys, come on! A car that has such unbelievable traction that they banned it for having an unfair advantage. I'll take all the unfair advantage I can get.
Dave Johnson, Bobby Crimmins back at Cole Fieldhouse. Maryland on top, 49-19. And this is one reason why.
Well, this is a beautiful fast break. You know, I love the unselfishness of this team. You know, Dixon could have went to score there and be selfish. Nicholas, excuse me. You know, all the Maryland players look to pass the basketball. And I'm very impressed with the unselfishness of this basketball team. And, of course, you got to give Gary tremendous amount of credit for building that philosophy.
A good shot of the Maryland bench. You saw Associate Head Coach Billy Hahn there. Steve Blake just getting his 3rd personal foul. Ben Roberts pestered in that backcourt. Roberts leaves it for Ali Trotman. And now Maryland Eastern Shore goes back to work, but Juan Dixon always looking for the steal. Wow. And he gets it. Juan Dixon, hang on. Oh, he's fouled.
Just don't get hurt.
Yeah. And the foul by Andre Newsom.
Great steal. See, the Maryland players, they're going to gamble. They're going to gamble. And of course, the big question is, can they do that Tuesday night against Clemson on the road? Clemson has a couple of freshmen that are very important. They have a young man by the name of Stockman. And I think Gary's going to test that young man. I think Gary's going to play a game just like he's playing right now. And he's going to test whether or not Clemson can handle the pressure. I'll tell you this, if Clemson does break the pressure, Will Solomon will shoot the threes at the end of the pressure. So everybody wants to know, can Maryland do this against the ACC team? In November, they did not do this against the Illinois, and Gary was not pleased with the way his team was playing. So, you know, all those answers, questions will be answered in the next
couple of months. Yeah, a couple of months, actually,
yeah.
Intentional foul was called, so that's why Maryland stays with the ball. Martisic battles for the rebound, and he gets it, and then he's fouled. So it was an intentional foul on Andre Newsom, the 2 free throws plus possession. 51-19 Maryland on top.
I think that's an excellent call, Dave, because I think you're sending the message. You know, the last thing you want is somebody hurt.
Yeah.
I had Deion Glover, ACL, the first day of practice, and injuries just, they're depressing. They are very, you know, I'm sure you do a lot of pro games. I'm sure the Orlando Magic are very depressed with Grant Hill being out for the year right now.
And it's what you said at the top of the broadcast. You want to leave this non-conference game with the right frame of mind. If you get an injury, there goes that right frame of mind.
You cannot have a key injury going into ACC play. And Gary knows that. You watch the last 10 minutes of this game. He'll have his key players on the bench.
Tim Smith eluding pressure. Good pass to Trotman and a good finish. Ali Trotman.
See, that's what you have to do. This is you know, the game plan. Attack the pressure, and we call this finishing. Finish. I'd be yelling at Alvin Jones and Jason Collier. Finish, finish. And burned them. Burned that pressure.
Chris Wilcox getting called with the foul. Trotman playing close to home, went to Blair High School. And he is from Tacoma Park, Maryland. Did not convert the three-point play. The putback by Mohamed Njai.
Well, yeah, truthfully, I'm glad to see Maryland Shore get some baskets here. I thought this is really going to get a blowout time, but it's good to see them get a few scores.
Danny Miller shovels it to Martisic. Martisic has to fight off players like it's a rugby match and scores.
They got bodies. Maryland got bodies, Dave.
They're deep, they're big.
Go attack it, attack it.
Dixon tips it, Miller saves it, Maryland ball.
Every day, Maryland works with that pressure, every day. This is very common knowledge to all these Maryland players. Pressure is one of Gary Williams' trademark. And I'll be watching a lot of ACC games and to see how their pressure, how the other teams deal with this pressure.
Maryland already with 10 steals on the afternoon. Talk about that pressure. Closing moments of the first half of play. And frankly, things have gone as expected. A Maryland Terrapin team hungry to get in position for the ACC as Roberts' three-point attempt is missed. Now Drew Nicholas, hang on! Chris Wilcox, the slam.
These are all good for the highlight film at the end of the year. You take these highlights into the recruits' home and you show them, this is how we play at Maryland.
Tim Smith says, well, that's how we play in Prince's Anne. And he answers back to try to quiet the crowd down. And that was from Drew Nicholas, of course, who's going to be doing the backup point guard. Nicholas tries again. Wilcox tips it on the inside. Laron Cephas.
Wilcox, a good-looking freshman, isn't he?
Wilcox just volleyballed that in there, and Wilcox denying the inbound.
The Gary Williams loves this type of hustle. He loves it.
And Calvin McCall comes in, replaces Juan Dixon. McCall, of course, quarterback on the Maryland team. That he'll be dealing with Ralph Friedgen, the new head coach, who you know from Georgia Tech.
I told you before the game day, I said, you better get off this court. I said, Ralph Friedgen's not going to mess around. If you're a quarterback, you better be ready to play. Ralph is an offensive genius, and George O'Leary. They actually, you know, Ralph was went to school here with St. Time Gary.
Right? They know each other. Yeah.
And of course, Bobby Ross was the head coach here, and then at Georgia Tech. And George O'Leary and Ralph Friedgen were both under Bobby Ross. So,
as we look at Tim Smith at the free throw line, and I think why everybody's so excited about having Ralph Friedgen at Maryland is not only, of course, an alumnus of the school, but Smith missing the free throw the first half of the one-on-one and the rebound of Wilcox. He's had success at every level, including the pro level. When he went to the pros with Bobby Ross, they went to the Super Bowl with the Chargers.
He's a genius with that offense. I'm really, you know, he'll be like Tommy, a first-year coach. He'll be Ralph Friedgen will be like Tommy Trotter, and he might get his, his brains beat out a couple of games. But I'll really be looking forward to following Ralph Friedgen's program here at Maryland.
Drew Nicholas follows the shot. And that may be the punctuation mark on this first half of play. It is the Terrapins, who've scored 120 points in that neighborhood last couple games, are on pace for that again this afternoon.
Exactly the way Gary wants it to go.
Terrapins on top at halftime, 60-25. We're coming back with more at Cole Fieldhouse. NCAA basketball on your regional sports network is brought to you by Audi. And by Meineke.
Why do I drive an Audi with Quattro all-wheel drive? Because I like driving a car that has an amazing racing heritage.
A car that dominated the Super Touring Series. Bye-bye!
Let's get this thing out of here, guys. Come on. A car that has such unbelievable traction that they banned it for having an unfair advantage.
I'll take all the unfair advantage I can get.
All you gotta do for $1 million, my friend, is make this simple shot. But first, we need you to put on these jumbo waders and add in these live Maine lobsters. Tennis, anyone? Okay, Joe, make that shot. Hey, Joe, high five. This is great.
The Alltel You Make the Call game, where every card's a winner. Ask about our 1,000-minute local freedom plan at $39.95 a month.
California? That's a long flight.
Yeah, but I'm not worried. I've got a direct flight early in the day, so I won't have to change planes, and I'll beat the heat. I'm in a sturdy, well-ventilated kennel with proper USDA markings. Oh, and I put my humans on the same flight. Coach, of course.
That's one smart dog.
Fly smart. Think ahead when traveling with your pet.
For many kids, growing up can be tough. That's why Nike and the NHL are taking hockey to the streets. In NHL cities all over North America, Nike NHL Street offers thousands of kids the chance to learn how to play the game, how to work together, and how to have fun, all in a safe environment. To get more information on Nike NHL Street, call 1-800-929-PLAY.
Going deep
with Chris Myers.
Dealing with the celebrity part of it, and when does it become too much?
This is not easy.
This is no longer a sports problem, it's a social issue.
Let's talk about the facts.
Is he a danger to society?
I have a lot to be mad about. Right. Well, who does it?
The sport itself may need a complete overhaul.
I knew that it couldn't get any worse.
So who would you say you trust the most?
There's so much at stake now.
It's about getting it right.
Going deep
with Chris Myers.
Sundays at 7 on HTS. This is HTS. Ready to play.
Dave Johnson back at halftime at Cole Fieldhouse. The Maryland Terrapins on top of the Maryland Eastern Shore Fighting Hawks, 60-25. And time now for our Geico ACC moment. Now, the Maryland Terrapins led the ACC, set a school record, in fact, with 6.7 blocks per game last season. Well, right now, they're averaging 7.5 this season through 11 games. They also have double-figure block shots 3 times this season, including 13 against Dayton and 11 against another school from Maryland, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So the Maryland Terrapins, once again, the Sultans of SWAT. We're coming back with more at Cole Fieldhouse. Terrapins on top at halftime.
Your heart is 80% water. Your muscles? They're 75% water. And your skin? 70% water. Every part of your body needs pure water. Aquafina, purity guaranteed.
At Geico, we're always looking for faster ways to process your car insurance claims. One idea, airlifting claims adjusters right to the site of the accident. We're over the target.
I don't see the car.
It's that little black dot.
They're all little black dots.
Good luck. Oh, your laptop.
Geico Direct. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
4-minute mile. A pole vault of 20 feet. A perfect 10. The experts said these could never happen. What do they know?
Why do I trust Meineke? I believe in the quality of the parts and service.
And the people who stand behind them. My family is too important to trust just anybody.
At Meineke, you'll get a lot, but you won't pay a lot.
With all their years of experience, the pros at Meineke really know their brakes. They take care of what's important under your car, so you can take care of what's important inside it.
At Meineke, you'll get a lot, but you won't pay a lot.
At Great Clips, we found a simple way to give you a better haircut. We listen to your ideas about style and fashion and taste. It's part of our ongoing postgraduate instruction at the Great Clips Advanced Training Centers, where every stylist learns how to shape and create, to look, and most importantly, to listen.
Stop. Hold it. Breathe. Now.
So that your haircut, your image, your style is always simply your own. Great Clips. Guaranteed satisfaction, guaranteed style.
Back at Coalfield House, the Maryland Terrapins on top of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore Fighting Hawks 60-25. Dave Johnson back with Bobby Cremins in the game going according to script, quite frankly, and Gary Williams has to be pleased at halftime.
Absolutely. He wanted an up-tempo game. He wanted a lot of turnovers, and that's exactly what he got. He wanted a fast-paced game.
A fast-paced game, the advantage to Maryland. They have it at halftime. As we take a look at the first half highlights from this contest this afternoon, Coalfield House. Now, Maryland Eastern Shore, we told you they'd have to get Sonika Street involved, and they did get him involved early.
They needed to score a little bit earlier than they did, but finally they got on the scoreboard. But when they don't get on the scoreboard, you know what happens.
Yeah, but Kevin Darby not afraid to shoot for Maryland Eastern Shore. He got 9 points early in this game, but as you mentioned, Maryland, they wanted pressure, and it was going to be, of course, a block by Lonnie Baxter that would trigger it all.
Well, off of missed shots, they're great, and we talked so much about the eyesight of Blake, finding the open man. Another great assist by Blake. But you notice that so much of this comes off of defense. Watch this pass. This is a highlight. The freshman, Wilcox.
Makes us shake just watching it. That rim is perhaps still rattling. For Maryland Eastern Shore in the second half, they can't look at the scoreboard, as you mentioned. They have to look at each possession as kind of a mini season, if you will, to try to get progression as they get ready for their conference schedule.
Well, they're getting a great guarantee, and hopefully Coach will take them to a steakhouse after the game. But obviously, again, this is Coach Trotter's first year. And you got to understand, he's just outmanned. I like his enthusiasm. He knows he got to go out and recruit. And maybe next time he plays Maryland, he'll be able to attack the pressure and instead of holding out, try and score.
All right, we're coming back with more at Coalfield House. The Maryland Terrapins in control at halftime. And the Maryland fans enjoying it this afternoon at Coalfield House with a score 60-25.
What turns an ordinary beer glass into something special? A light beer that's brewed with the finest two-row barley and imported hops. One that has a remarkably smooth, satisfying taste that you won't find in an ordinary light beer. In short, what kind of beer makes a glass like this special? One that really fits the glass. Beer, or Michelob Light.
Why do I drive an Audi with Quattro all-wheel drive? I like driving a car that has an amazing racing heritage. A car that dominated the Super Touring Series. Bye-bye! Get this thing out of here, guys, come on! A car that has such unbelievable traction that they banned it for having an unfair advantage. I'll take all the unfair advantage I can get.
Play in the majors. You may not be athlete of the week, but you will be something. Dream. Every kid deserves a chance. With your support, Easter Seals offers children with disabilities help and hope.
It is more than a trial by fire. It is a rite of passage. And if you can master your fear, outsmart your enemy, and never yield even to yourself, you will be changed forever. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The Capitals, the Flyers, Saturday night at 7:30, only on WE50.
Dave Johnson, Bobby Kravitz back at Coalfield House. The Maryland Terrapins with the lead at halftime on Maryland Eastern Shore, 60-25. Time now to take a look at our Bud Light halftime stats, and you look at the percentages. Actually, percentage-wise, Maryland Eastern Shore not that far off, but they're not going to be in this game.
Well, the big thing is the turnovers. You know, the double figure, 17 turnovers by Maryland Eastern Shore, and the points off of turnovers, 28. See, when we played Maryland, that was one of our key stats. You got to take care of the basketball and avoid those easy turnovers that result in Maryland baskets.
All right, take a look at the leading scores in this first half of play. And, well, Kevin Darby has been aggressive. 9 points for Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, I would like to see Street up there. Street's having a tough time because, you know, he's playing him.
Yep.
Baxter. Every time he goes to shoot, he's got Baxter in his face. He's probably nervous. But I'd like to see him get into scoring. But, again, Maryland, there's no selfishness on Maryland. They all pass the ball. You know, you could take 6 guys on Maryland's team. They could be the leading scorer every other game.
Well, that's reflective. Look at it. Byron Mouton with 13. You have Terrence Morris and Juan Dixon right there with 11. So a nice mixture at the top of your scoring chart.
Absolutely.
So the Maryland Terrapins in control here at halftime. 60-25 on the University of Maryland Eastern Shore Hawks. We're coming back with more.
All you got to do for $1 million, my friend, is make this simple shot. But first, we need you to put on these jumbo waders and add in these live Maine lobsters. Tennis, anyone? Okay, Joe, make that shot. Hey, Joe, high five. This is great.
The Alltel You Make the Call game, where every card's a winner. Ask about our 1,000-minute local freedom plan at $39.95 a month.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
Turtle Wax, Grizzly Grill Guards, Rancho Shocks, gas cans. Advance Auto Parts carries more parts than any other store, including one you won't find anywhere else.
We need some help. We need a lot of help.
Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people.
There will always be skeptics. You know them. They say it will never work, never happen, never fly. But the next time they tell you all the logic logical reasons why it can't be done, just remember all the times that they have been wrong.
It's Marlowe's biggest New Year sale ever. Hundreds of living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, all in stock, all on display, and all at the very best prices in town. Plus, 1 year free financing with no down payment, no monthly payments, and no interest charges for 1 full year. No one could beat our prices in the last century. No one will touch them in this century either. Marlowe's biggest New Year sale ever. Saturday and Monday till midnight. Sunday 11 to 9. Come celebrate the savings. Marlowe, Washington.